How much do you know about Melania Trump beyond her stylish outfits and poised public appearances? Melania's life has been marked by surprising twists, from her early days as a model, where she posed nude for magazines, to her time in the White House, where she was backstabbed by a trusted friend and advisor. Is Melania Trump just a sexy former First Lady, or is there a more fascinating story behind the scenes? Here are 10 things you didn't know about Melania Trump. Melania's language skills under scrutiny. Flashback to February 2016, when Melania Trump was on the verge of becoming First Lady. She sat down for a rare interview. As she reminisced about her modeling days, she casually said she was fluent in 5 languages: Slovenian, her native tongue, English, French, Italian, and German. But was she being genuinely candid or just making a casual claim? The question sparked a lingering debate, with some questioning the extent of her language skills. Melania's language skills became the subject of intrigue ever since she made those claims, but dig deeper and you'll find a curious case of missing evidence. Despite her claims of being a multilingual expert, there's a surprising lack of evidence to support her language skills beyond English and Slovenian. No records of her speaking fluent French, Italian, or German, and no credible sources to back up her claims. Take her 2017 visit to Rome, for instance, where Pope Francis playfully asked her in Italian what she feeds her husband. Melania seemed lost until a translator intervened, suggesting she didn't understand the question. During her visit to Bambino, Gesù Children's Hospital on May 2017, Melania tried to connect with the kids in English, and even attempted to use some basic Italian phrases like "Come stay," meaning "How are you?" However, she used this phrase incorrectly, as it's typically used to ask about an individual's well-being, not to greet a group of people. Meanwhile, in France, a video surfaced with a caption claiming Melania Trump speaks French. But upon closer inspection, it only showed her uttering basic phrases like "hello" and "my name is Melania" in French. Despite thorough research, there is also no record of Melania Trump speaking German, not even in photos or videos from high-profile events like the G20 summit dinner with Vladimir Putin. Her claim of being fluent in German remains unverified. It is peculiar that Melania Trump, who claims to be multilingual, has not demonstrated her language skills during her European visits. Unlike other individuals who speak multiple languages, she is not engaged with locals in their native tongues. Furthermore, during her husband's presidency, when requested to provide evidence of her language proficiency, the White House remained silent. As a result, her claim of being fluent in multiple languages remains unsubstantiated. It is unclear why Melania has not showcased her language abilities, leaving many to wonder about the true extent of her linguistic skills. Until further evidence emerges, the mystery surrounding Melania's language proficiency will persist. Nude photo of the Queen of Catwalk. Melania was the queen of the catwalk in the 90s, sizzling on the covers of Europe's top fashion mags with her drop-dead sexy looks. Her stunning beauty and captivating charm made her a household name, as she ruled the runways and magazine covers with effortless elegance. 3 years before meeting her now husband Donald Trump, Melania appeared in a nude photo shoot for a famous magazine alongside model Emma Eriksson from Scandinavia. Jarl L.A. de Basseville, the photographer, described the images as beauty and not porn. He explained that he had always been drawn to photographing women together, citing his own experiences with women who were interested in ménage à trois as an influence on his artistic vision. It gets even juicier. Melania once starred in a Slovenian fashion commercial. She played the role of the President of the United States, stepping off Air Force One and taking the oath of office like a total boss. And the cherry on top? She endorsed an immigration policy that's pretty much the opposite of her husband Donald Trump's strict views. Fast forward to 1996, and Melania sizzled on the cover of Max magazine once again, this time rocking nothing but high heels and a sultry attitude. The photos were part of a special issue celebrating women's bodies in all their glory. So, when Donald Trump was questioned about the racy photos, he responded with a shrug and stated that Melania had been a successful model, implying that her past work was not a big deal. He asserted that the photos were just one of many shoots she had done for major magazines and that they were taken before they met. According to him, in Europe, this type of modeling work is common and accepted in the fashion industry. From meeting Trump to motherhood. In their glamorous relationship, Melania and Trump shared a compelling bond of authority and affection that captured the attention of society. Little did Melania know that a single night with Trump would kick off a fascinating journey of influence and romance, ultimately leading her to the prestigious role of First Lady. September 1998 was that night. Melania walked into the Kit Kat Club in Manhattan, where she met Donald Trump. Introduced by her agent, Paolo Zampoli, the two locked eyes, and Trump was instantly captivated. But Melania wasn't easy to win over. She played it cool, refusing to give him her number. Instead, she asked for his. A week later, she finally called, and their first date was set in motion. Melania was drawn to Trump's confidence and charisma, which reminded her of her father. As they started dating, she read his book, which outlined his expectations for a relationship. Despite her growing modeling career and press conferences about her successes, it was clear she was also interested in Trump. However, their relationship got off to a rocky start with a brief breakup early on. The split was triggered by Melania's discovery of Trump's ex, Kara Young, leaving his building. But they reunited just a week later, rekindling their romance. As Melania's relationship with Trump deepened, she began to scale back her modeling career, devoting more time to supporting her partner. Trump's fame and connections not only opened doors to new opportunities but also introduced her to a more refined social circle. She was treated with respect and kindness, a refreshing change from her usual crowd. This newfound social status even granted her the privilege of meeting the esteemed Kennedys at a gala, a moment she had always dreamed of. Despite a brief breakup in 2000, they reunited soon after and started living together at Trump Tower in 2002. Melania appeared on his show, The Apprentice, in 2004, and on her birthday that year, Trump proposed, citing her supportive nature and the success she brought to his life. She signed a prenuptial agreement without hesitation and took charge of planning their wedding, which was a grand affair at Mar-a-Lago in 2005. She chose a stunning and expensive John Galliano gown and even graced the cover of Vogue before the big day. Melania and Trump's wedding was a glamorous, celebrity-studded affair, with her sister Inez by her side as bridesmaid. Despite Trump's suggestions, Melania was in charge and made the final decisions, including rejecting his idea to broadcast the ceremony on NBC. As the new Mrs. Trump, Melania became stepmom to Trump's 4 kids from previous marriages. She formed a special bond with 6-year-old Tiffany, Trump's daughter, and was grateful for her loving family's support when she became pregnant. As she prepared for motherhood, Melania oversaw the creation of a beautiful nursery at Trump Tower and generously requested that baby shower gifts be donated to a local children's hospital. The Trumps had 3 homes: Trump Tower, a New Jersey golf club, and Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Melania had her private spa built at Trump Tower, and they maintained separate living spaces, which suited Trump's preference for independence. On March 20, 2006, Melania gave birth to their son, Baron William Trump, with Melania choosing his middle name and Trump selecting his first name. After Baron's birth, Melania dedicated herself to raising him, scaling back her public appearances with Trump. Her name is officially registered as a trademark. You know how sometimes you get a little extra time on your hands and you're like, what am I going to do with this? Well, that's what happened to Melania Trump when her son Baron started getting a bit older and more independent. She had devoted herself to being a full-time mom, but now she had some space to pursue her interests again. First, she decided to launch a jewelry line and officially trademarked her name in 2009. Soon after, She began selling a stunning array of pieces. She was super particular about not using the Trump name. She even corrected reporters when they got it wrong. She wanted to make it clear that this was her venture, separate from her husband's brand. She designed the pieces herself, drawing inspiration from all the amazing places she'd lived, like New York, Palm Beach, and Paris. And the best part? Every time she released a new collection, it would sell out like crazy. But that wasn't the only business venture she tried. She also launched a skincare line called Melania Marks Skincare in 2011, with some fancy high-end products infused with caviar. She was passionate about skincare and wanted to share her secrets with the world. Unfortunately, it didn't quite take off like she hoped, and the project stalled. That's when things got a bit complicated. The company behind her skincare line, New Sunshine, was a marketing and branding firm that helped her develop the products and get them to market. But things didn't quite work out as planned. There were some issues with the contract, and New Sunshine ultimately decided to cancel their agreement with Melania. It got a bit messy, with some accusations of favoritism flying around because of her family connections. Of course, it seemed like some people thought she was getting special treatment because of her husband's position. But in the end, Melania came out on top in the legal dispute, and they settled for an undisclosed amount. She was initially asking for $50 million, though. After all that, Melania decided to focus on being a mom again and eventually stopped designing jewelry. Melania's influence on Trump's political career. Ever wondered who finally pushed Donald Trump to take the leap and run for president in 2016? It was the woman behind the man, Melania. She challenged him to either commit to running for the presidency or quit talking about it. But when the campaign started, Melania made it clear she wouldn't be pressured into being a political wife. She would show up when she wanted to, and that was that. She took a pretty low-key role in the campaign, which was unusual for a presidential spouse. She said she needed to focus on their son, Barron. The campaign still changed her daily life, though. She had to deal with security arrangements and couldn't post about her day on social media like she used to. She went from being super active online to almost ghosting her accounts. Despite everyone else doubting Trump's chances, Melania expressed her confidence in him, saying that he was fully capable of handling the situation. She encouraged him to be himself, minus the profanity, of course, and trust his instincts. She watched the campaign from home, keeping an eye on the polls and how Donald interacted with his opponents. She called him after each rally and gave him her honest thoughts on how he did. Melania's modeling background came in handy during the campaign. She was already comfortable in front of cameras and didn't need a stylist to tell her what to wear. As a model, she was trained to be mindful of every move she made, from standing to walking. And for the record, she hated being called shy. She said it was just a label slapped on her by people who only met her for a hot second and wanted their 15 minutes of fame. After the campaign, Melania made rare public appearances, with her husband occasionally inviting her to address the crowd briefly. However, she didn't deliver her first formal speech until April 2016, marking a significant milestone in her public role as First Lady. The campaign team was eager to get her more involved, though. She had a unique perspective as an immigrant and could humanize Donald in a way no one else could. Hope Hicks was her go-to gal, helping her pick and choose which events to attend. Melania trusted Hope's judgment and let her decide what was worth her time. When she did appear, it was usually in swing states where Donald needed a boost, and instead of talking about policy, she focused on his personal qualities. Oh, and a fun fact: Melania was involved in choosing the vice president. She met with the top contenders and gave her seal of approval to Mike Pence. She liked that he wasn't too ambitious and wouldn't try to undermine Trump. However, she didn't quite click with Karen Pence, Mike's wife. They just didn't have much in common. In a surprise move during the 2016 presidential race, a political action committee supporting Ted Cruz, a Texas senator and Donald Trump's rival, utilized a nude photo of Melania Trump from her modeling days in a controversial attack ad. The caption taunted, Get ready to meet your potential new First Lady, or choose Ted Cruz instead. It was a pretty low blow. And then, to make matters worse, the New York Post splashed even more racy photos of Melania on their front page in July 2016. It was humiliating for her, and she disappeared from public view for 2 months. Melania made a comeback with her speech at the Republican National Convention on July 18, 2016. However, things took a turn when it was discovered that she had borrowed a paragraph from Michelle Obama's 2008 speech without giving credit. When confronted, Melania initially claimed she had written the speech mostly by herself, which wasn't entirely accurate. The Trump campaign was caught off guard, as they usually vet these things before they go public. Trump was furious with his team, feeling like he had let Melania down, while Melania was disappointed in herself, feeling like she let the campaign down. It was the only major speech she gave during the entire campaign. 2 days later, a Trump staffer named Meredith McIver took responsibility for the mistake, explaining that there had been a miscommunication when Melania was inspired by Obama's speech. Despite the controversy, the speech had some heartwarming moments, as Melania shared stories about her childhood in Slovenia and her early days as a model. After that, she kept a relatively low profile until Election Day arrived. Just a month before the election, a scandal broke out when a secret recording called the Access Hollywood tape was made public. This recording, made in 2005, caught Donald Trump making inappropriate and disrespectful comments about women. This caused a huge controversy and a new wave of criticism against Trump, who had married Melania just a year before the recording was made. When the news broke, the campaign team was freaking out about how Melania would react. And Trump? He was pretty tense too. It took him 2 whole hours to muster up the courage to talk to her. When they finally had their chat, Melania didn't mince words. She told him that his actions could blow the whole election for them. Then, she just got up and left the room after he apologized. Melania was pretty upset and kept her distance from Donald for a while, waiting a whole day before making a public statement. The Trump campaign suggested that Melania and Donald appear together in a scripted event to repair their public image, but Melania refused and opted to handle the situation independently, in a way that felt authentic to her. She even refused to sit beside him during his apology video, which is what political spouses usually do in situations like that. Instead, she released her statement saying that the tape didn't show the real Donald Trump and that the women accusing him of sexual misconduct were liars. After that, Melania's public profile skyrocketed. But she grew tired of the media's sympathetic gaze. Seeking to reclaim her narrative, she made a striking statement at the next presidential debate by wearing a pussy bow blouse, a fashion choice that ignited a firestorm of discussion. Meanwhile, on Election Day, Melania broke away from the family's campaign trail, choosing instead to spend a quiet day with her parents at Trump Tower. With this bold decision, Melania demonstrated her unwavering autonomy and resilience in the face of challenge, sending a powerful message that she wouldn't be defined by circumstances. Melania Trump renovated the White House Rose Garden. Known for her discerning taste in design and aesthetics, Melania Trump announced on August 22, 2020, her intention to renovate the White House Rose Garden. Inspired by the iconic 1960s design established during the Kennedy administration, her goal was to restore its timeless charm and sophistication, returning it to its former glory. Melania said that decades of use and changes to support a modern presidency had worn down the White House Rose Garden, located just off the Oval Office. In the period leading up to her announcement, former President Donald Trump had often utilized the Rose Garden as a venue for delivering statements and hosting press conferences throughout the duration of the coronavirus pandemic. The Rose Garden renovation wasn't just about making it look pretty, it was also about making it accessible to everyone, including people with disabilities. Melania pointed out that gardening takes effort and hope for a better tomorrow. And fun fact, this project was part of a bigger plan to give the White House a facelift, including the red and blue rooms, and a brand new tennis pavilion on the South Lawn. Melania emphasized that keeping the White House beautiful and historic is essential to American values and preserving them for future generations. And she didn't do it alone. The Committee for the Preservation of the White House and the National Park Service took care of the White House grounds and gave the thumbs up for the renovation plan. Plus, it was all made possible by private donations. Melania's awkward fashion statement. Amidst a clandestine power struggle between Melania and Ivanka following Donald Trump's presidential victory in 2016, tensions simmered within the Trump family dynamic. With the spotlight constantly on their every move, Melania's choice of attire often became a focal point for interpretation and speculation. When she wore the infamous, "I really don't care, do you?" jacket, it ignited a firestorm of controversy, prompting widespread conjecture about its intended message, particularly in relation to Ivanka. As both Melania and Ivanka sought to carve out their own spheres of influence and attention in the media, their relationship behind closed doors reportedly grew increasingly strained. Rumors circulated that Melania had taken to referring to Ivanka as the princess, a subtle yet telling indication of the underlying tensions between them. While many observers interpreted Melania's choice of jacket as a direct jab at Ivanka, suggesting it was emblematic of their rivalry, the true meaning behind the garment remained elusive. Melania initially brushed off suggestions of any hidden agenda, downplaying the significance of her fashion statement. However, as scrutiny intensified and public interest persisted, she shifted her narrative, suggesting that the message was aimed at the left-wing media. Melania's trust, shattered by trusted friends' betrayal. When Donald Trump was president, his border policy was a hot mess, but then things took a turn for the worse. Families seeking safety in the United States were being torn apart, with kids being detained in cages and separated from their parents. Melania tried to rise above the controversy, channeling her energy into planning holiday events. However, it was impossible to ignore the glaring elephant in the room. Her husband's policies were wreaking havoc on thousands of lives, causing immense harm and heartache. In a private conversation, Melania publicly criticized the family separation policy, saying it was much harsher than what previous administrations had done. She advocated for a more compassionate solution, stating that the current approach was not acceptable and that an alternative was needed. However, her efforts were met with resistance from her husband's team, who expressed regret but insisted that the policy would stand. Meanwhile, Stephanie Winston Wolkoff, a trusted advisor and longtime friend of Melania, brought two areas of expertise to the table. Not only was she well-versed in White House protocol, but she was also a skilled event planner, able to organize high-profile events with ease. Despite her valuable contributions, a dramatic turn of events unfolded when Melania's team discovered that Stephanie had been secretly recording their conversations and writing a tell-all book about their relationship. The book was like a bombshell, spilling all sorts of tea about Melania's complicated relationship with Ivanka, her thoughts on border policy, and her feelings about Michelle Obama. Wolkoff even shared a recording where Melania talked about migrant kids in detention centers, implying some immigrants might be lying about fleeing danger. Stephanie thought Melania initially felt bad for the kids, but ultimately caved to her husband's agenda, lacking support and understanding to do more good as First Lady. The controversy surrounding Stephanie's actions led to a deterioration in her friendship with Melania. Melania's team was extremely critical, accusing Stephanie of betrayal, while Stephanie maintained that she was simply revealing the truth about the Trump administration's harmful policies. And then, things even got worse. Stephanie made a bold claim that Melania used a private email account during her time as First Lady. This revelation sparked concerns about the transparency and accountability of the Trump administration. When questions about the inauguration surfaced, exposing some shady dealings, Stephanie's company had made a whopping profit of $26 million from the event, with a substantial amount going directly to her bank account. This revelation marked a turning point in the relationship between Melania and Stephanie, and their friendship took a hit because of it. Melania Trump opened up about her personal encounter with COVID-19, revealing that she and her husband, Trump, received positive diagnoses simultaneously. Her initial concern was for their son, Barron, who initially tested negative but later contracted the virus. Fortunately, he exhibited no symptoms and proved to be a resilient young individual. Melania expressed gratitude that they all went through the experience together, enabling them to support and care for one another as a family. Melania described her symptoms as mild, including body aches, coughing, headaches, and persistent fatigue. She opted for a natural approach to recovery, relying on vitamins and healthy nutrition, and praised the exceptional medical team that cared for them. During her recuperation, Melania had ample time to reflect on her family's experience and the hundreds of thousands of people worldwide affected by the pandemic. She realized the significance of kindness, humility, and compassion in challenging times, and encouraged everyone to prioritize their physical and mental well-being by adopting a balanced lifestyle. Melania Trump was super relieved to share the news that she had finally tested negative for COVID-19 back in October 14, 2020. Melania was raring to get back to her First Lady duties when she felt better. She was super thankful for the amazing care her family had received and acknowledged how lucky they had been. She also remembered those still struggling with COVID-19 at the time and sent lots of love and appreciation to everyone who had sent kind messages and prayers their way. Melania's Fostering Kids project. Since she departed from the White House, Melania has been all about helping America's kids. She's taken it to the next level with a brand new project focused on supporting the foster care community. But here's the thing, she's not running a traditional charity, so don't go looking for an organization with her name on it. Instead, she's calling her platform Fostering the Future, which is an initiative under her bigger Be Best umbrella. Now, details on the project still need to be clarified, and it seems like there might be some confusion about the whole Be Best charity situation. Spoiler alert, it's not a registered charity in Florida or New York. But here's the cool part. We know that at least a few scholarships have been awarded through Fostering the Future, including one to a guy named Michael Weitzman, who got the funding through a friend with connections to the Trump family. Michael Weitzman grew up in foster care, bouncing around between a dozen different homes. But he had big dreams of going to college. A friend of Michael's inquired about his college plans, and he confirmed that he still intended to pursue higher education. The friend then hinted that they might know a wealthy person who could cover the expenses. Later, Michael appeared as a guest on the television show Fox and Friends in 2022, where he received a surprise virtual visit from Melania Trump. He expressed his gratitude for her kindness, and she explained that she was collaborating with the Bradley Impact Fund to provide support to children in the foster care system. Melania is pioneering a fresh approach to philanthropy through her Fostering the Future platform, a key component of her comprehensive Be Best initiative. By partnering with organizations, she's providing scholarships to foster children passionate about computer sciences, empowering them to pursue their dreams. As people follow her efforts to support foster children, they naturally wonder how Fostering the Future operates. And that's a fair question, especially since Florida law requires charitable organizations to register with the state. Recently, an inquiry was made into a fundraising event where some proceeds were intended for Fostering the Future, but the details on how much would go to Melania Trump's initiative were unclear. Despite some unclear details, Melania's commitment to making a positive impact in the lives of America's foster children is evident. Her dedication to this cause is unwavering, and her innovative approach aims to make a real difference. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.